Hi, everybody. Welcome to Networking Action. My name is Ronnie. Today I have the pleasure to talk with Victor L. Henry. He is a commercial realtor with Commercial Market Exchange, and he's a representative for Power Kiosk, which is a commercial energy broker. Hey, Victor, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you today?
I think good. I've been saying lately that I'm alive, so I have a good head start.
That's
So,
always the
all right, so let's jump right in. Tell me, what is it that you do?
so my primary uh job is I'm a commercial real estate agent, and specifically I am a commercial tenant representative. So that means when companies are looking for lease space, they call me up and say, Victor, help us find a location and help us negotiate a lease. So I've been doing that since 2009, and I've successfully uh, done roughly 120 contracts since then. And so I'm
Wow.
basically advocating for the tenant side of the transaction in a commercial lease.
Wow, that is very, very great. From my little experience right now, you don't feel you feel a little bit vulnerable as a business owner. So it's really good to have somebody like you on our side. So let me ask you this. What is it about specifically your process of either finding the space or negotiating the space that sets you apart?
Well, one thing is I'm typically on the tenant side of the transaction. So I'm not showing you buildings that I am listing for a landlord because, there's no way for me to negotiate for you and a landlord at the same time in the same transaction. You got to pick a side, right? And so, because I'm mainly working with tenants, I'm able to go in and show with a non biased eye, first of all, as far as the availabilities of properties. I show my clients, what's out there, and I don't have any, there's no interest for me for as to which building they choose. Um, and then we go in because I've, experienced looking at leases for the past 10 years. I'm generally, aware of what provisions of a lease, we're going to actually try to go and maybe get some changes or, negotiate in the process.
Very interesting. So, how much do you think out of, just a generic like lease for a company, like how much do you think would you get amended in favor of the tenant?
That's the very that's an interesting question because it's going to depend on what landlord we come across, the situation he's in with his building. If he has a large portfolio of properties where that one space only represents a small percentage of his entire portfolio, or if he's a landlord that owns one building and one vacancy represents 30% of his vacancy,
Yeah.
then he may be more likely to give
Be
some
more
incentives,
flexible.
be more flexible. And then, typically the points that we look at is obviously the rate. That's the hardest part to negotiate, of course. Um, Tenant improvements, who's going to pay for it, as far as, if something breaks down, free rent, and some other provisions that might be specific to the use of the tenant.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So you've been doing this for, we said over 10 years, 2009. We're in 2021. That's a 13 years, 12 years.
Yeah,
Amazing.
2009. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite customer service story? Like somebody you really
Oh,
helped?
wow. And so that's interesting because most people think of me when they're looking for a new space, right?
Mhm.
I actually helped an optometrist um, negotiate her renewal.
Okay.
And she's very busy. She has appointments all day, and her renewal was coming up. And I was like, "Well, let me talk to your landlord for you." And instead of waiting 60 days out to tell him that we wanted to stay, I contacted him more like 4 months out as her real estate agent, and just started negotiating. Hey, what can you do for my client as far as a renewal? So when I call as an agent, he knows that I'm showing her other options, even if she
Yeah.
said to me, Victor, I love this location, I don't want to move, my clients know where I am. It
Mhm.
would be a little detrimental to my business if I relocated, but I'm not going to tell the landlord that, right? So I was able to get her, I was able to keep her rent level renewing. I was
Perfect.
able to get her 2 months free. I was also able to get her $25,000 in tenant improvement allowance, which means she wanted some improvements done to the suite. And so she basically had a $25,000 bucket of money from the landlord
Yeah.
to do that. And then in most cases, as a small business, a landlord will require a tenant to personally guarantee a lease. So, in other words, even if you have the business in an LLC and you have the lease in the name of your business, they're going to have another document that says you personally, Ronnie, if you default on this, if I go after your LLC, it has no
That's no meaning for
assets.
them.
But you have a bank account, you have savings, you have stuff you own. So I was able to get her and her husband released as personal guarantors uh, after her renewal.
That alone is worth it. Absolutely
Right.
worth
And
it.
that just and all the while she didn't have to stop seeing any clients. She never had to, cancel an appointment, talk to the landlord, and for her, um, you know, it wasn't she wasn't as comfortable having that conversation with her landlord. She's an optometrist, she's not a real estate agent,
Yeah. No,
right?
I understand that.
That would be my probably my best story.
That's a good story for sure. I will agree on that. I'm
Yeah.
impressed. All right, so let's pivot a little bit. COVID-19, you know,
Yeah.
it's a weird world out there. Very weird.
Yeah.
How has the commercial real estate, even the energy, if we want to talk about a little bit about power kiosks, how has that affected your business?
So I have had clients. So number one, COVID obviously has caused some businesses to fail, for lack of a better way to just describe it. Unfortunately, one person's demise is an opportunity for somebody else. So in the world of, let's say, retail,
Mhm.
I was able to put a client in a nail shop that was a previous nail shop that had gone out of business. I have clients that are looking for restaurant space because there are restaurants that have gone out of business. And if you think of just those two examples, those are what we call second generation locations. The
Okay.
new tenant doesn't have to go and spend all the money to create that concept because it's
It's
already
already
there. The kitchen is already there. So that's a savings of hundreds of thousands of dollars and a lot of hours, right? Um, so COVID is causing, some of that. COVID is also causing some of my clients to call me and say, "Hey, we've pivoted a little bit and we don't need as much space, but we still have 2 or 3 years left on our lease." And so in that situation, I can help a client sublet their space where they
Mhm.
won't be on the hook for that, those months that are left. They get out of a situation that they want to get out of. A new client comes in who needs the space, and the landlord is still happy. Um,
But
so COVID is causing just a lot of shifts. People are
oh,
still looking to do business and get into locations. Um, but you see it in different sectors. Office is contracting because most people are doing like what we're doing, working from home in an office setting.
yeah.
Um, but on the flip side of that, warehousing is increasing because now you got e-commerce and delivery, and more companies are doing the logistical, stuff where they need warehouse space. So it almost depends on what sector you're looking at. You know, it depends on kind of where that's going during COVID.
Very interesting. So I'm gonna follow up with another question when it comes to COVID. So we I obviously been interviewing a lot of people, so I've been talking to people from all across the nation, and I've seen a trend in the residential real estate. It's on the rise. So would you say it sounds like the commercial side of it is a lot of like changes, just going up in scale, going down in scale. But do you feel like there's a trend of going up in pricing, or if, where do you see the market right now?
And so you got to also think about where I'm calling you from because I'm in Austin, and so
He's in Austin, guys.
it's
He's
the
in
hottest
Austin.
market probably in the country. So I'm speaking from that perspective also. Um, I don't see prices going down. I see landlords possibly giving more incentives to go in as far as tenant improvements, more free rent. Because if you think of a commercial property from a landlord's perspective, it is an investment property, and he wants to get a return on investment, and he probably has a loan on that building where his bank actually can control the leases that he's signing. You know, they won't allow him to, you know, jeopardize the cap rate per se by signing these low rent leases because he'll never recoup that investment. So I'm seeing more of the, you know, incentive to get in, but I'm really not seeing prices going down. But keep in mind too, I'm in a market that
Yeah.
I've seen rates literally double since I started in this business. Literally office rates have doubled.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin became insane.
Yeah,
I know this from personal, we've been in Houston, it's been treating us well, but the grass is always greener, and
yeah,
Austin used to be not Houston affordable, but it was okay to do a shift, a change,
yeah,
but can't touch that
yeah.
place with a stick right now. It's so
It's
expensive.
mirroring California now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people just keep moving. I think I talked to a realtor from also from Austin. I think she probably is in your group. And she said that people from California are moving in, people from Jersey. Now with the new market in Oklahoma for the cannabis that just got approved, she said people are rushing to Texas because of it, because it's on the border. Because nobody wants to live in Oklahoma. Sorry, Oklahoma. So that's what she's been saying. So there's just people just rushing into Austin, and she's so busy she doesn't even have time to talk to me anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's no inventory.
There's
Um
no inventory.
and
That's a trend, by the way, nationwide.
right.
Nationwide, everybody's having insane demand and nothing to, you know.
Mhm.
So interesting, such a weird,
Yeah.
business. Like,
Especially doing that now, you would think it would contract because of the virus, but it seems like things are going faster and
a
increasing.
little bit faster, yeah.
Hmm.
It's really interesting. All right. Well, I promised this would be a short interview. Now it's a long interview. So let's finish it. So Victor, thank you so much for your time. Would you mind sharing with us what is the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach me is my cell phone number is area code 512-587-9409. And you can call me or text me. I'm a great texter.
Yeah. I think the market that we're talking to right now is that like, I don't like making phone calls. I hate making phone calls. So texting is always bliss. All right. Well, thank you so much again for your time. Thank you everybody for watching. If you guys need help with your lease, also don't forget the Power Kiosk. It's also representing an energy broker. If you're moving into a space, you can probably find you a wonderful rate of energy costs. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.